Hey everyone, it's Catherine Urban and my baby's taking a nap. And we have a super exciting planetary shift that's happening tomorrow on May 13th, 2021. Yeah, I'm talking about Jupiter's ingress into Pisces. And if you haven't already heard about it, I'm here to fill you in. And if you have heard a little bit about it, you might appreciate hearing just a slightly different take on it. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Jupiter in Pisces today. Today, I'm going to go through a little bit about what you can expect from this transit on a broad collective level. I'm also going to be going through each zodiac sign so that you can listen and hear what Jupiter in Pisces is going to be bringing your way. And this is a really juicy transit. Jupiter is the planet of prosperity and abundance and blessings. And I mean, we're already seeing it by all those stimulus checks. Like we're all feeling a little like that wallet's a little fatter right about now. Hopefully. And if you're not, then you want to sit tight and hang on because Jupiter has actually, just to give a little bit of a backstory, Jupiter has been traveling with Saturn, which is the opposite planetary influence, which is constriction and rations and being able to trim back and cut the fat out of our lives. So that's what Saturn basically does. Saturn is all about doing what's necessary, doing the bare minimum, doing what we have to do in order to persevere or level up. And it's all about responsibility. And I love Saturn, but I'm not here to talk up Saturn so much today. When Jupiter is in a Saturn-ruled sign, like it has been the last couple of years, right now it's in Aquarius for the last day. Well, actually, it's going to come back into Aquarius for a hot second, but so we're not quite through with that. But yeah, so when Jupiter is in Capricorn or Aquarius, it's not able to have as much legroom to express itself. So we actually don't have as much access to the things like celebration and abundance and prosperity and even like things like hope and belief. So I know that a lot of us have been going through it in the last year on many levels, and we could look at so many different factors for why, but Jupiter being in Capricorn through 2020 is a big piece of that, because not only was it in Saturn's domicile, but Saturn was also in Capricorn, and then they both switched into Aquarius at the same time. We had that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the winter solstice last year. And yeah, so it's quite rare that you would see Jupiter traveling with Saturn through Saturn's two home signs just like that. So essentially what this has done is it's kind of squelched Jupiter's ability to deliver us joyousness and celebration. It's been in smaller doses. And Jupiter in Capricorn was all about teaching us how to be really grateful for what we have and teaching us to make the most of a situation. It was about finding the silver linings. And then, yeah, Jupiter in Aquarius, that was, innovations and vaccines and all kinds of other stuff. But it kind of got overshadowed a little bit because of Saturn. Cutting to the chase, Jupiter moves into Pisces tomorrow. So Jupiter is in its home sign, which means it has a lot more range of motion. So we're going to start to see the opening. And everyone's been wondering, when are things going to open back up? I think we're going to see it progressively open up a lot while Jupiter moves through Pisces. Because remember, Jupiter, whatever it's doing, wherever it is in our chart, whatever sign it's moving through, it's a collective journey. We don't get the cake right away. It's like you might get some cake along the way, but it's really toward the end of the Jupiter transit that we're like, oh, this is what this was about. This is where I was headed. This is where this path was taking me. So we're all entering a journey right now, but we're going to start to see it. And we're already starting to see it as things start to open up. And especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, and especially where I live, we're coming out of winter right now. So we're just now being able to reconnect with people, whether that's outside or on patios, I just threw my daughter her first birthday party, which is crazy because her baby shower was the day that everything shut down. So that was the last time I was in a big gathering with people. And then just this past weekend, we had all of our family. We had like 20 people at our house. And it's like, I was a little nervous at first, but pretty much everyone was vaccinated except for the kids. And it was really beautiful. Like once we all kind of got outside and everything, it was just like comfortable and easy, and it felt so good. And so we're going to start this transit is really going to correspond with that. It's really going to correspond with us being able to reclaim connection, with us being able to bring the magic of connection back into our lives again. I think Jupiter in Pisces is going to be amazing for creatives and anyone who is creative, thinking about musicians, thinking about theater. I know in New York City, they're about to open up Broadway again. But I'm just thinking about how the creative process, I used to play in bands and everything, and wish I still had the time. But thinking about how a year like the last year could really be creative motivation for a lot of people. It's amazing how going through something really difficult can actually be some of the greatest inspiration for an artist, especially like a songwriter, or whether you're creating art on a canvas or wherever you do it. It could be incredible motivation and inspiration for that. Also, I think just being able to play live for musicians, you're going to see even more magical synergy from the musicians who are getting up there and playing. Same thing with any performance art. It's just going to feel so much more emotional. And especially like with the fans too, even if you're just like walking by and there's just like a local band playing, like it's going to feel magical. I feel like Jupiter in Pisces is just going to maximize our capacity to witness and enjoy something like that, something that we feel binds us collectively, something that is uplifting us collectively. And yeah, I think it's going to be really beautiful for that. I've heard people even say like the first show that I go to, like the first Broadway show, like I'm going to cry. I've heard people say that. And I could totally see that, and how that parallels with Jupiter in Pisces, and how it's just like kind of the upliftment that we need. So historically and traditionally, Jupiter deals with fertility and abundance. The last couple years, we've actually seen a decline in people choosing to start families for whatever reason that might be. And just in general, speaking about fertility, talking about fertility as creativity, talking about fertility as potential to grow something, to give life to something. It doesn't have to be a human being. It could be a creative project. It could be a dream, a vision. Jupiter in Pisces really highlights our inner connection, our ability to expand our inner dimensions, to connect to something bigger and more meaningful than us. And as I mentioned, the arts is a wonderful way to plug in and do that, to experience something with a larger group of people that is unspoken, but so, so meaningful. I think Jupiter in Pisces is going to be amazing for our spirituality. Any kind of spiritual path that you're on or you're desiring to set foot on, now is a really great time to start that journey. If you've been desiring to reconnect with your meditation practice, I know I am. This last couple of years, it's been really hard just between the stress of everything going on and also just having a new baby. It's been really hard to take the time to sit down and go inward. So now is a really beautiful time to rekindle that connection, or if whatever your spiritual connection might be. I know some people who know a thing or two about microdosing or using psychedelics for any reason, whether that's to get a big leap forward in like a mental health journey. I know that that microdosing has been proven to help people with anxiety and depression. I see Jupiter and Pisces corresponding with leaps in the mainstream. Like we're gonna start seeing it more mainstream, I think. People, and specifically probably celebrities or influencers, talking more openly about their journey with microdosing and psychedelics. I think we're gonna see that. And also because psychedelics do open up our inner dimensions in a lot of ways. And that's what Jupiter is all about. Jupiter is all about expansion. And in the diurnal sign of Sagittarius, it's things like exploring and traveling and learning and trying to understand, trying to make sense of the world, basically. But Jupiter in Pisces is that inner expansion, trying to find inner meaning, finding connection to something bigger than you. And this is the big one that I really think is going to be a defining theme for us personally and collectively during this transit. I think we're experiencing a collective crisis in values. I think this pandemic has really forced us to ask ourselves, am I living a life of meaning? Am I living in alignment with things that make me feel good? Is there something more? Is there a way that I could be living in truer alignment with my values? I think that Jupiter in Pisces is going to place us all officially on this journey of trying to find more meaning in the way that we live our lives. So yeah, I know I'm already starting to think about that. And I think this has been called a collective reset. And I think Jupiter in Pisces is going to correspond and facilitate that seeking for more meaning, seeking for more fulfilling connections and things that really sustain us and feed us on a soul level. So we're going to be going through a collective journey to figure out what that is for each and every one of us. And it might correspond with where Jupiter in Pisces is happening in your chart. So if you're here with me live, just hang tight. I'm going to get there. I also think that we're going to see, and I touched on this a little bit already, but I do think that Jupiter in Pisces is going to correspond with the gradual opening of everything. Like this summer, let's get some dates here. Jupiter is going to be in Pisces from May 13th through July 28th. So we get like 2.5 solid months of Jupiter in Pisces. It's going to retrograde back into Aquarius for a hot second, and it's going to come back into Pisces on just in time for New Year's Eve. It's going to be December 29th, 2021, and it's going to stick around there. It's going to zoom through Pisces through May 10th of 2022. So it's like, we got to take advantage. We've got to take advantage of it. And then there's a third chapter of Jupiter in Pisces. It's going to be at the end of 2022, October 28th through December 20th. So we get like a little last dessert serving there. But yeah, so anyways, we're seeing like 2 springtimes with Jupiter in Pisces. And I think that this first one is corresponding with, oh yeah, we can go back to baseball games, but we're still not full capacity. Or like weddings are back on, but we're keeping it small this year. Or yeah, you can, like some people are doing concerts again and things like that. But I think next year is when we're really going to have the juiciness, the most juiciness of Jupiter in Pisces. And so I think we'll be able to see us continually opening for better or for worse, because we know that in some parts of the world, we don't quite have a handle on the COVID crisis yet. But regardless, we do see this opening action happening, especially peaking next year, which I'm going to get into in a second. I also think that Jupiter in Pisces is going to be really awesome for travel, just kind of opening that possibility back up. And overall, this transit is about magic and finding the magic in the mundane. I mean, who has gone somewhere really basic like the pharmacy and been like, oh my God, it feels so good to have a normal interaction? Or thinking like, last year I would have hated this and just like wanting to get out of line real quick, but like now I'm so happy to be here. And I think that that corresponds really nicely with wanting to find more meaning, not just glossing over and glazing past things that could inherently be magical if you open up for it. If you desire to make an impactful connection, or to be really present with whatever is happening in your life. We can find magic anywhere. And I think Jupiter in Pisces is going to help facilitate that. So yeah, I do want to give you all some important Jupiter in Pisces dates to look out for, but I want to get to the important stuff first. I want to go through your signs right now, look and see where Jupiter in Pisces is happening in your chart. And I want to make sure I get to all 12 signs before the baby wakes up. Because if I have to come back and do the dates another time, I will. So yeah, Jupiter travels in a 12-year cycle. Think back to 12 years ago. What was going on in your life? So this would have been 2010, really. 2010, Jupiter was in Pisces. And I want you to think about 2010 in context when I go through these signs. I also want you to listen to your sun sign, but also your rising sign. And because your rising sign you always want to listen to your rising sign for any kind of horoscope. It's probably going to feel even more accurate because that's how astrologers do it. We're looking at your whole signs. We're looking at your rising sign, basically. So yeah, think about 12 years ago. Generally, because Jupiter is in its domicile in Pisces, we're going to be seeing the best possible qualities of Jupiter. That is maximum abundance, maximum celebration, blessings, good fortune, all that good stuff that Jupiter brings. Going to excess, right? Because you only live once. And yeah, but I've talked to some people about this and they're like, oh no, Catherine, like 2010 was rough for me. And maybe it was, and I don't want to negate that. But just keep in mind that there's a couple factors here. One, you could have been having some crazy Pluto or Saturn transit. Those transits are going to be a little bit different. So it's not going to be the exact same. It's not going to be a total repeat of 2010, but you'll notice some corresponding themes. The other thing is that you want to look at your natal placement of Jupiter. Is it placed favorably in your chart? Then you're probably going to get even more favorable qualities out of this transit. If you don't have the best Jupiter placement in your chart, I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to kind of take it down, scale it back a notch for your expectation. As that is the thing with Jupiter, is that sometimes it just like overinflates expectations and underdelivers. So that can be a total bummer. Jupiter just wants more. And so when Jupiter's in Pisces this year, we don't want to be holding back. We've been holding back. It's time to go forth and really live. Okay, so I'm going to start with Pisces on this one. So Pisces, Jupiter is coming to your sign, and Jupiter is your ruling planet. So Jupiter in your sign, in its domicile, it's comfortable here. It's going to bring so many juicy things to your world this year. I know Pisces, you've been going through it because you've had Saturn in your 12th house for the last 12 years. You're still going to have Saturn in your 12th house. I hate to break it to you, but Jupiter in Pisces going to do some gorgeous things for you. It's really going to open you up. You're going to feel a little bit more optimistic this year. You're going to feel like you have a little bit more sunshine emanating from you. This is going to make you feel a little bit more of that larger than life presence that we know you can be. Pisces, you're weird. I love you. We never know what's going to come out of your mouth. We don't know if you're going to be weepy, if you're going to be wild. You're always surprising us. Jupiter is going to magnify that. You are just going to feel so extra this year, and I can't wait to see it from you. You can expect some really awesome, probably potentially rewarding opportunities coming to your way, because guess what comes next for you, Pisces, is Jupiter in Aries in your second house. So that's where the paycheck comes in. But this year, you're going to want to be looking for those opportunities that are going to launch you forward in life. This is about looking at the world through with more hopeful eyes, with more magic, with more excitement. It's time for you to take some risk. It's time for you to expand and see what else you're capable of. Kind of put yourself out there. It's time to take a risk on some level. And yeah, Pisces, you're going to be feeling yourself and other people are going to take notice. And so you're basically going to be drawing that abundance in. So don't hold back. I know you also love to have a lot of downtime and you need quite a bit of time to yourself, but don't spend it all to yourself. We need that presence. We need that Jupiterian Pisces, creative, sensitive, magical, empathetic, artistic presence that you bring. And you're hilarious too. So yeah, luck should be more on your side this year. You still got the Saturn stuff that you're working through. You got this, but you're going to be feeling a great deal of optimism. And this is a year of significant growth and opportunity for you, Pisces. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the top. We're going to come back down. So Aries, you're next. Aries, Jupiter is going to be in your 12th house. So the 12th house, kind of a sticky house. The 12th house is where we're doing like a lot of deep internal processing. So Jupiter in Pisces in the 12th house could mean you got the best therapist in the whole world. You got someone who's really qualified, who you really click with. And we're seeing kind of that abundance factor as you kind of process through maybe some stuff you've been holding. The 12th house is where we stash everything we can't deal with right this second until it gets activated. So right now, you will have Jupiter rolling through your 12th house. So maybe it is about seeing the silver lining for whatever it is that you've been carrying, whatever it is that you went through, whatever it is that you're processing. There's a readiness. It feels like it's time. And I have the help and I have the resources available to me. So yeah, also the 12th house is a place where we go to get away. I feel like Aries, if you've been thinking about taking some kind of retreat, like on a magical island somewhere or in the mountains or probably by water, because we got Jupiter in Pisces, that is going to be something that I would urge you to do. I think that this is the year to do it. And you're going to be helping yourself out because when Saturn gets to your 12th house, when Saturn gets into Pisces in 2023, you're going to be doing a lot of the clearing. You can do a lot of the clearing early. So this is a really great time to just like deepen your inner connection. This is private. I know Aries, like, you're really dynamic and warm and we love to see ya and we love to hear from you, and you're never very shy about putting yourself out there and telling us exactly what you think. But you know what? This time is for you. This time is for you, Aries, and you need to be thinking about what you need to really replenish your well on a soul level. Take care of yourself. And yeah, Aries, like, you're normally so dynamic and exerting energy out. Jupiter in Pisces is calling you inward. And yeah, you're going to be in your head. You're going to be in your feels. And yeah, probably coming to some big realizations. Jupiter is expansive. So the 12th house often corresponds with our subconscious. So some things are going to be coming to light for you. And that's one thing Jupiter does, is it's a big magnifying glass. So wherever you have Jupiter rolling through your chart right now, that is going to be illuminating that topic of life. So it may not be bringing the blessings right away, but you're like, oh, I see it. This is what I got to work on. This is the journey. Remember, we're going on a journey. Wherever we got Jupiter, we're going on a journey. So yeah, lots of great healing opportunities for you, Aries. And yeah, it's going to create a lot of freedom and space there for you. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, Taurus. We've got Jupiter in Pisces is going to be in your 11th house of friendship. So yeah, we should really be looking forward to that. Lots more opportunities coming your way to feel a sense of belonging. Yeah, it's morning where I'm at right now. Good morning. Taurus, you're often very good at kind of just putting your head down, keeping yourself, and making sure the work gets done. This is the time with Jupiter in your 11th house that you want to be plugging in to your community, whether that is finding a sense of online community, like really tapping in and really being like, yeah, I'm a part of this, and feeling like people are involving you. And a lot of that is you just kind of wanting to plug in as well, like taking the initiative to do it. But yeah, a lot of opportunities could be coming your way as far as being invited to collaborate or being invited to join up. Maybe you're the one holding the space. The 11th house is where we find a sense of community and a sense of belonging. So we're seeing a lot of expansion there. So maybe your understanding of what community and connection could bring for you. Once again, we're in a time of a total reset. So maybe you're creating space for what that looks like for you. And finding more magic along the way. Like, oh, this is what it looks like. This is what my Saturday nights could look like. Or this is what my Wednesday nights could look like. You know, if you're starting some kind of monthly meetup or you're joining one, whatever that might be. But there's all kinds of opportunities for connection here. So just feeling plugged in. And, you know, it's about like that saying, like, I know a guy who knows a guy. And this is the year for you to become more plugged in, Taurus. So there's going to be quite a bit of illumination around this area for you. Yeah, like I said, what it means to feel plugged in, what community can look like for you. And I think, yeah, like everyone's kind of reimagining this sector. So get creative with it. So yeah, get creative with it. And this could also just be like if you have some kind of online presence for whatever reason, whether that's for your business or just like you're into some niche field like astrology, something like that. I don't know. This could be a really like awesome year for making those connections long lasting. Okay. So Gemini, this is a big one for you. I'm excited for you, Gemini, because this is your 10th house, Jupiter in Pisces in your 10th house. I'm really excited for you because you've had Neptune in your 10th house for the last, like 10 years. So that may have created a lot of confusion for you. And being the jack of all trades that you are, even more confusion around what do I do? You know, you see all these other people having like careers that they're really sure about or seem to be really sure about. And you're like, well, what am I doing? Jupiter in Pisces is going to bring some more opportunities your way. I'm really looking forward, everyone. There's going to be a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction on April 12th, 2022. And that is the big wave of opening that I think we're all waiting for. I want to circle back and talk more about that at the end. But I think that this is going to be really big for you, Gemini, in terms of bringing a dream to life. What is your dream? Maybe it's been hard for you to focus on actualizing something because you have so many interests and because it's hard to find the niche for it. Well, I mean, if there's anything this past year has taught us is it's what are you waiting for? Like you got to get out there and live your life, and you only have one shot. So I think that transit could be really potent for you, Gemini, in terms of actualizing something really unique that you've been wanting to bring forth. And I know a couple of you Geminis, and I'm thinking of you, and I am so excited for what you've got in the works because I know those gears are already turning. So yeah, this is also going to bring a little bit more visibility to yourself, your public persona, and your gifts and what you're here to offer. This is a year of growth and opportunity as far as your career and also just being recognized. Someone might say, hey, you should go to my friend over here. Like I've got a friend who's a Gemini. I'll just use him as an example. He builds bike frames. Oh, you need a bike? Go to my friend Carmen. He's great at it. And he built me one. And he's fantastic. So you might get a lot of referrals kind of thing. Just lots more visibility and people really recognizing your unique gifts that you bring forth and offer to the world. So yeah, go for the dream, Gemini. Cancer. Jupiter is in your 9th house. This is kind of a lovely place for Jupiter to be because Jupiter just loves being in the 9th house. It's a really great place for it. And yeah, so the ninth house, because there's some kind of correspondence here. Like there's a relationship, like Jupiter really gets along with the ninth house. It feels comfy there. The ninth house is all about what we believe. So this could be just like a really big expansion for how you see the world, like falling in love with the world. It's a lot where like your worldview is. So being able to look at the world through like sparkly eyes once again. It's also about questioning you, like, what do you believe? What's really important to you? This is, once again, we're seeing the theme of opening here. So there's some kind of opening and expansion. There's an invitation for you to look at the world a little bit differently, to keep more of an open mind, to have a little bit more space for discovery and learning. So maybe you're traveling. This would be really awesome for traveling, having Jupiter in Pisces in your ninth house. So yeah, maybe you feel good about traveling. This would be a really great year to do that. If you've been thinking about studying anything, maybe a little bit more formally, like this would be taking like a book that you read and wanting to deepen your understanding of something by taking like a 10-week class or taking like a weekend-long workshop kind of thing, like really deepening your understanding of something that is maybe more philosophical or something that is like big, expansive worldview, learning a language, doing like some kind of teacher training yoga thing, committing to the astrology course, whatever it might be that you're wanting to learn. It's a really great time to expand your understanding this year. And yeah, and if you're into anything like mystical at all, Jupiter and Pisces in your ninth house is really awesome for that. Okay, Leo, eighth house. Okay, this is a little bit of a sticky house also. So we are this is a house of like there could be some kind of inheritance, because yeah, Jupiter and Pisces, there's like a luck quality and a fortune quality to it. Not that we want our loved ones to leave us necessarily right now, but it doesn't even have to be related to that at all. Like sometimes you can come into an inheritance without someone passing too. Like it's like you like I know people who their parents have said like, I want you to enjoy this before I die kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, eighth house is kind of sticky. It can be inheritance. Maybe you are putting money aside like for your spouse or something like that. Like this is a place where we take care of things like life insurance, retirement funds, savings. This is a place where we also where we either take on or pay off debt. With Jupiter in expansive, freedom-loving Pisces, maybe you're really focused on paying off your debt, Leo. So this could be a year where you're like, I got a plan, or I'm going to put my stimulus check toward paying off debt so that I'm debt-free. So yeah, there's a quality here about shaking it off and finding ways to get rid of what's owed or minimize what's owed. Maybe you pay off your car. Maybe you finish paying off the student loans. Maybe you put like a huge chunk down on your mortgage so that you take your 10-year debt down to like 6 or something like that. So there's some kind of plan that you might have here to kind of minimize that number of what is owed. Any issues that you have here, if any issues here will become enlarged. That's the other thing that Jupiter does, is it's looking to enlarge this area of life. So, yeah, so like with Cancer, it's like what you believe in your spirituality or your faith of whatever it is going to become really a big topic for you. Similarly, Leo, it's going to be finances, and it's going to be the sticky stuff, and it's going to be trying to get things paid off. Or maybe you're excited. Maybe you've been saving up to buy a car or a house for a long time. And so it feels good to drop that money, that Jupiter and Pisces, creating possibilities for yourself. Maybe it's like an investment of some kind that you know is going to pay off really generously for you down the line. So there is something very fertile here. There is something very potentially expansive for you. Maybe you're getting into cryptocurrency or something like that. So there is some kind of potential here, maybe combining forces with someone. The 8th house is where we combine forces with someone financially. Maybe you're making like a big investment in something that is going to bring, maybe you're investing in something for your business. It's going to bring a lot of possibility and joy your way. But that said, it is kind of a stickier house. It is endings. The 8th house is also endings. But this is going to be the kind of endings that kind of make you feel a little bit more free with Jupiter and Pisces. So chapters ending can be really difficult, especially if you're not prepared for them, and especially if they're untimely or undesired. But sometimes things end and you feel really good, and it just creates a lot more space. So be looking out for that, Leo. Okay, Virgo. Jupiter and Pisces in your 7th house. I love this for you. This is so exciting because the 7th house is all about love and relationships. It's where we partner. It's where we commit with other people. It's where we collaborate with other people. So I love this for you. Jupiter in the 7th house. It is going to, okay, so if you're single, this is really exciting because to me, this looks like the odds of you meeting someone and starting like a really, really awesome connection, fun and flirty and expansive, just like elevating, take me to the clouds kind of connection. I'm really excited for you. If you're not single, you can still get those same benefits from this transit. You got to fall in love with people again. You're going to be falling in love with your partner again. You're going to be discovering the world again with your partner, with other people, with your partners, and just creating more room, creating more space, creating more magic in the realm of relationships. Jupiter can enlarge issues. We all know relationships are complex. So if there's any issues going on in the relationship or in the kinds of relationships that you're having, like, is there a theme? Jupiter is going to enlarge that so that you become a little bit more aware on it, so that maybe you can really work on that and create more space for the kinds of dynamics that you really crave. This could be a sense of, I'm adventuring this year with the people that I really love. This could also really just represent really beautiful things happening in the people's lives around you that in turn makes you feel really good. Maybe there's a lot of celebrations going on for your partner, your partners, your loved ones, anyone that you're partnered with. There could be just really beautiful things happening in their life that in turn really inspires you and brings value and magic to your own life. And yeah, this is about just like creating more room, creating more romance, like fall in love, like do something really magical, like plan really intentional. I know you're so thoughtful, Virgo. You're really great at planning. And I know that you are going to bring so much magic and celebration to the people that you love, and just showering them with your affection and support. And that is going to be contagious and magnetic and just reverberate out into the world. So that's really beautiful. Yeah. And I mean, if you're like getting married or engaged or doing anything like really beautiful and exciting in your relationship, like Jupiter and Pisces is such an awesome time for that. So happy for you, Virgo. Libra. Jupiter and Pisces is going to be in your 6th house. And this is the house of wellness. It can also be health issues. So Jupiter in Pisces is like, say you've had like something going on with your hip for a long time. Jupiter in Pisces is going to align you with, oh, that's the issue. I've been trying to figure out what this was for a while. Maybe you find the right like wellness facilitator to help you work on that. So this is going to be a journey of creating more space in your body. Having like a Venusian sign on the 6th house, we know that like rest and, because it's it's Jupiter actually. So having a Jupiter sign on your 6th house, like, yeah, you're good at being gentle with yourself and doing what feels good. So yeah, we want to continue to do that. Do what feels good in your body. This might also be kind of creating some kind of new routine for yourself, creating more space in that routine. Hey, I'm a Libra and I just went full-time as an astrologer. And so I'm paring down my really crazy schedule and creating more space for magic in my life. So any other Libras out there, if you've been really grinding like I have, this is the time to think about giving yourself a little bit more space to be creative. We know you're creative, Libra. And so Jupiter and Pisces in your 6th house wants you to make a little bit more room for magic in your everyday life. Create a little bit of space to stretch your legs and read a book or do whatever it is that makes you feel connected and really like plugged into yourself spiritually. This is the time for it. And it could also just be, Jupiter and Pisces in your 6th house, like it's like lighten up, like loosen up on the routine a little bit, like give yourself some space. And so even if that is like, maybe you're someone who has been like really, really adhering to some kind of like, maybe you run 5 days a week or whatever it is. And so this transit is saying like, hey, like there's other things that you can do to take care of yourself. Why not find out what that is? So yeah, enjoy that journey, Libra. Scorpio, 5th house. Ooh, this is so juicy. I'm so excited for you because the 5th house is the house of love and sex. And Jupiter in Pisces in your 5th house, it just feels really juicy to me. And I feel like you're going to be creating more possibilities for yourself romantically. So if you're single, you better be open because some hot hookups could be coming your way. And also, even if you're in a partnership, this could just be a time where you're ready to explore. You're ready to explore a little more. What feels really good for you? The 5th house is a house of pleasure, and Jupiter and Pisces, there's no bounds here. So this is a time to really like spin the wheel and see what happens. And that goes for love and sex, but also like games, like play. Scorpio, I know you can tend to take things very seriously. And this is a year to lighten up a little bit. Jupiter in Pisces in your 5th house is inviting you to play, to take a chance, to just live in the moment this year. And yeah, this overall is just a very magical, expansive, heart-opening transit. So really get creative with if you are a creative person, you want to be able to give a lot more space and energy to whatever it is that you create. If you're competitive, maybe a little bit of luck is on your side. If you like to bet, if you like to gamble, you want to be a little cautious with this because you will have some good luck. But once again, Jupiter tends to overpromise and underdeliver. So don't put all your chips on red. Be a little reasonable here. But the goal is to just go for it. If you want to be spontaneous, book a trip. If you want to be spontaneous and, do your nails, like some new thing that you've never done before. Whatever it is that makes you feel playful and spontaneous, you want to be taking chances on that, Scorpio. And romance, sex, connection, playfulness, like those are really big like portal openers for you. Like you really want to lean in to receiving in that way. And speak up. You're a very quiet person, Scorpio. You often really keep to yourself. So this is a time to really ask for what you want. Like, what do you have to lose? Come out with it. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you want to try. Okay, Sagittarius. Jupiter in Pisces, this is your ruling planet, Sagittarius. I'm really happy for you. I am stoked for you. And it's going to be in an angular house. So that's really freaking cool. It's going to be in your 4th house. So the 4th house is your home and your family life, but it's also your inner foundation. This is a time for you to feel really confident. This is a time for you to, and if you don't feel confident starting tomorrow, not to worry. Once again, this is a journey that we're on to getting to a place where you feel really confident and really just like anything's possible, because we know that's how you roll, Sagittarius. But overall, this might be a time where, let's talk physical, let's talk the home. This could be a time where you're creating more space for yourself. Maybe you're moving. Maybe you've been stuck in a tiny little apartment for the last year, losing your freaking mind. And now you finally found the house, because I know the house market is crazy right now. So maybe you finally find the house and you're ready to move and have a little bit more space. This is about bringing magic into your home. So even if you're not moving, there's tons of ways that you can get creative and turn that home into the dream home. So whether that's really investing in the garden this year, like really going for it, painting your office pink or purple or whatever it is, whatever you've been wanting to do to make your home feel more just like what you've envisioned for yourself. This is the year to do it. You can also create more space by getting rid of clutter. I know that's a really big one. Just having Pisces on your 4th house natally, I know that stuff just ends up places for you, Sagittarius. Like, it's easy to just accumulate a ton of junk. So this could be a year where you kind of go through it and purge, and you create more space for what you really want your home life to look like. Maybe you are getting, like, I don't know, like Jupiter is kind of indulgent. So maybe you're dropping some cash in the process. You're getting the bed that you want, the sofa that you want, or the kitchen that you want. This is the time to really do it. Jupiter in the 4th house could also be really beautiful and exciting and celebratory things happening within your own family. So maybe people are getting married, people are having babies, people are coming into the family, beautiful things are happening in the family, people are getting promoted, maybe parents are retiring, things to celebrate are going on in the family. Also, we know families are complex as well. Jupiter and Pisces can really highlight any issues that's going on so that maybe that person can get some help. So that's kind of the silver lining thing of Jupiter. Okay, Capricorn. This is happening in your 3rd house. Jupiter and Pisces happening in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is the information that we take in. It's how we communicate. It's how we communicate with ourselves. It's what's going on between our 2 ears, basically. And it's also our community. So this Jupiter and Pisces could have you plugging into your local community in new ways that make you feel a part of something, that make you feel connected somehow, makes you feel like, even if it's just being a regular at this one coffee shop or whatever it is, it's just forming that connection, forming that meaningful connection, being a part of something local. Or like joining the local theater, like, I don't know, whatever it is that you're into that creates a little bit more magic in your life locally, feeling connected to that. Maybe it's a bike. Maybe you're getting a bike. Or 3rd house can also be cars. Or just like getting to know like the parks and the gardens that are nearby, like that kind of thing. But it's also media and content. So we know how soul-sucking social media can be. And ironically, I say that too while I'm live on Instagram. But, and if you're watching the YouTube version, on YouTube also. But Jupiter in Pisces wants you to find more meaningful connection. So maybe you're purging the people that you follow, and like, because when you sit down to mindlessly scroll, maybe you want to see things that make you feel good and don't make you feel bad about yourself. It's so easy to compare yourself to what other people are doing. We often forget that what we're seeing is just a cultivated slice of what people are projecting into the world. Like, just a reminder, you guys, like, I did my hair and makeup to look here. You know what I look? I look like a scumbag half the time at home, just like with a baby in my arm and not having time to do that. So just to be real with you for a hot second, but that's everybody else too, whether they want to admit it or not. So Capricorn, it's all about being able to filter the content that you're ingesting, whether that is the books that you're reading or the shows that you watch on TV, whatever kind of information you're taking in, you want to be really conscious of that this year, because you want to be taking in information that nourishes you and makes you feel abundant and connected and vibrant. So take care of that this year. Also, if you're a content creator of any kind, this could be really juicy for you. If you're like in advertising or writing or teaching, anything like that, this could be a really great year for you to feel inspired on those fronts. Aquarius, this is going to be in your second house, Jupiter and Pisces in your second house. Oh yeah, this is really good for money. This is really good for your income. Like Jupiter is abundance and cash flow in your second house. And in this abundant sign of Pisces, yeah, be open to new sources of income. Be open to receiving that raise. Ask for it. Sometimes with Jupiter, like you do have to ask for it in order to get the blessings that it offers. So yeah, ask for the raise. This could definitely be more money coming in. The second house being the assets of what we have. Maybe some of the things that you have are going up in value. So you want to pay attention to that. Like I know Pokemon cards were selling for a lot of money last year. Who knows? But Aquarius, there could be something that you have that is accruing value. Because Jupiter is expanding that. So you want to play your cards right if you're playing with cryptocurrency or stocks or whatever it can be. Maybe it's also time, maybe if you work for yourself, maybe it's time to raise your rates a little bit, raise your prices. Because Jupiter in your second house is going to be maximizing that cash flow. Remember, this is a journey. So maybe at the beginning, Jupiter in Pisces really kind of enlarges the sector of finances for you and says, hey, you're here, we want to get to here. How do we do that? And so this year will be about Jupiter enlarging those pathways toward more financial abundance for you. The caution is that you'll also probably be spending money because Jupiter in Pisces just wants to kind of give. Jupiter is very generous. So that's just something to be cautious of, is that it's going to probably feel good. It's going to feel nice to spend it on some level. I know that you are ruled by Saturn, Aquarius, so it might not be the most fun thing for you, but try to have fun with it if you are spending the money or investing it somehow this year to create more beauty in your life, really. Create more possibilities for yourself. And hey, you worked hard for it and you deserve it. So that is the 12 signs. I did Pisces at the beginning. If you're Pisces and you're still with me, go back to the beginning of the signs that I did. So there is that. Now, if you're still with me, my baby is still asleep, so I'm going to keep going because there are 3 significant chapters of Jupiter in Pisces. And once again, this is a super exciting transit we all want to be taking advantage of. Jupiter has a 12-year cycle. It has 2 signs of its domicile. It was in Sagittarius in 2019. Really juicy stuff was happening in my life, and I know so many other people's lives. It was like, it kind of felt like we had too much of a good thing happening for myself and a lot of people I know. 2019 will always be a really stellar year in my book. Lots of beautiful things. And so that's when Jupiter was in Sag. And then Jupiter goes into Saturn-ruled signs. It kind of dips down a little bit. We hunker down, we ration and everything. And we concentrate our forces. And then Jupiter comes out and it's in Pisces. So we won't get Jupiter in Sagittarius for another 8 years. We won't get Jupiter in Pisces for another 12 years. So we really want to plug in to the potentials of this transit. Okay. So the highlight of the first chapter of Jupiter in Pisces is once again going to be May 13th, 2021 through July 28th, 2021. The highlight of this period is, well, of course, just experiencing the transit itself is going to feel just all kinds of magical, opening up possibilities, returning to life with a sparkly rose gold filter all over it. It's just going to feel glorious and amazing to just reconnect and plug in, feel part of the world again. in real life. But the highlight here that we want to look out for, that is going to be the lunar eclipse on May 26, 2021. This is the only eclipse that is going to answer to Jupiter in Pisces. So yeah, it's a Sagittarius eclipse, going to be answering to Jupiter in Pisces, and Jupiter is squaring the eclipse. So this to me tells a little bit of caution. Like Jupiter in Pisces is abundance and all the good things, but you can have too much of a good thing. So this kind of makes me nervous about, we're still at a stage where some places might be too eager to open back up. And, just to be fair, like no one knows what they're doing. Still no one knows what we're doing. And everyone is dealing with this crisis differently. And, everyone's in a different place with it. And the thing to keep in mind is that even though we have all this expansive possibility with Jupiter in Pisces, Saturn is still in Aquarius. And Saturn is in its domicile in Aquarius, just like Jupiter is in its domicile in Pisces. But Saturn is just a teensy bit stronger in Aquarius. So that to me says, yeah, go out, live your life, plug in, make some magic, make it rain, but also be cautious, be careful, be responsible. You have a duty as a global citizen on this planet to do your part. And that's kind of what Saturn in Aquarius is still reminding us about. But yeah, I think this lunar eclipse on May 26th is going to really highlight some of the themes of Jupiter in Pisces in a very big way. But also it is, I think, like, because it's a South Node eclipse, and I've been watching, whenever the moon goes through Sagittarius, the shit hits the fan. I've been watching this like clockwork. It's been especially stressful on Astro Twitter. Like every time the moon goes into Sagittarius, like there's some big blowout, and it's really stressful for me. And so I don't know, even though everyone's kind of looking forward to this, I'm still a little nervous. Like, oh, is it going to be a little too much of a good thing? Or, what's going to come out this time? What's going to be exposed this time? So just keep that in mind. Once again, I think the really exciting chapter of Jupiter in Pisces is going to be the chapter 2, which starts on December 29th, 2021. So right before New Year's of this year. And that is going to go until May 10th, 2022. And to me, this is the juiciest fruit of this transit. So right off the bat, when Jupiter enters Pisces for the second time, Jupiter's going to immediately square off with the lunar nodes at like the final degrees, well, the first degrees, because the nodes move backwards, of Gemini and Pisces. So this is huge because similar to how Jupiter's journey through a sign it's a journey and we're getting kind of the cake at the end of it, the nodes kind of do the same things and the eclipses kind of do the same things. We really get the message at the end. I think this is going to be a really major time. We're also going to have like an eclipse season right around there, like right before that, I believe. And this is going to be very illuminating. It's because Jupiter expands, it puts a magnifying glass. And so everything that we've been doing with the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius, really challenging our beliefs, really challenging us to let go and unlearn and shift our perspective and open our mind, be willing to see things from right and wrong, or like from a place of not just black and white, right and wrong kind of thing. I think that if there's anything this pandemic is also teaching us is that a lot of people claim that they have the answers and they get so opinionated over like who's right and who's wrong, but nobody fucking knows what they're doing. Nobody. We really don't have 100% answers. We are learning things along the way. And we're all doing the best that we can. But yeah, I think that there's going to be something there around, like basically the North Node in Gemini is asking us to open our minds to more possibilities and more perspectives and keeping room for multiplicity. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. We can both be right and we can both be wrong at the exact same time. And I think that that's what the North Node in Gemini is reminding us. And so, yeah, I know this is difficult stuff to talk about. We're all sick of talking about it. But I also really think that with Jupiter squaring off the nodes at that time, it's going to be a choice. We're going to be making really significant choices about our direction, about our beliefs, about what kind of information we're willing to take in and entertain or perceive as like really valuable. We're going to be making choices in our values too, because right around that time, Venus is going to station retrograde at the end of Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. This is going to be right around the Pluto return. Shit's going to be going down. And what it's going to do is it's once again going to be a part of this collective reframing and personal reframing of values. What is important to us? Once again, I think one of the biggest things that Jupiter in Pisces is going to be inviting us to do is to contemplate what is meaningful in our lives. How do we live more meaningful, aligned, purposeful lives? And what does that look like to each and every one of us? This is also happening on a collective level. And I see this juncture right around the end of 2021, moving into 2022, as being really pivotal around that, around us individually and collectively making choices in order to align even closer with our beliefs and our value system and what that looks like. So that is going to be major. Also, a part of this chapter is going to be March 5th, 2022, when we have Jupiter Cazimi. Jupiter will make its single alignment in the heart of the sun. Actually, the sun's going to align with Jupiter technically. And that is huge because we have like a sense of renewal, purification around whatever the themes that Jupiter and Pisces is bringing up. Will our faith in humanity be restored? We'll have to wait and see for that one. But if you want more information about these dates and key transits that I'm describing, they're on my website. I wrote an article. I believe it's called Horizon of Hope. And that is all about detailing this Jupiter in Pisces. So you can catch that there. The other major one that I'm really excited about is going to be on April 12th, 2022. And that is where we get our singular conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. This is huge for heart opening, empathy, compassion, and also maybe we're going to see some themes around how we deal with the water crisis that's going on, because this is happening, in Pisces. And Neptune also has its connotations with the ocean. I would also love to see Jupiter kind of illuminate some of the bigger issues that Neptune and Pisces has kind of been bringing up. And this deserves a whole other video, so we'll have to chop it up some other time on it. But basically, this aspect is really important. There is an astrologer, Alexander Ruperti, wrote a book called Cycles of Becoming, all about planetary cycles. It's amazing. I love that book. And he says that this alignment is one of the highest notes of Neptune's transit through any sign. So Neptune spends about 14 years in any sign. Jupiter takes 12 years to go around. So most of the time, sometimes you'll get to Jupiter Neptune alignments, but this time we just get one. And a lot of the times you'll just get one. And so this is seen as like a high note because Jupiter and Neptune have a lot of the same properties. They're both expansive. They don't like boundaries. They like dissolving them. And in the sign of Pisces, this is incredibly compassionate and heart-opening. And it's also going to deal with topics of freedom, I think. One of the things that I think Neptune in Pisces has been slowly bringing up, and I've been waiting for it to keep getting bigger and bigger, and I think it's I think it's next, is the prison industrial complex. And I hope that Jupiter conjunct Neptune is going to illuminate these topics in a much broader and bigger way. And I think that that is directly related to a lot of the conversations that we're having in this country around like structural, like systemic racism and things like that. And I think that we can't talk about systemic oppression and not talk about the prison industrial complex. And I think that that could be coming next. And we'll see if Jupiter conjunct Neptune really brings that out. Because, we've seen it would be on brand, basically, without getting too deep into it, with the symbolism that we often see with Neptune and freedom. So get these nonviolent marijuana smokers out of jail. Come on. Okay. The other big date that I want to mention, before I move on, that April 12th, I see that as being really pivotal as far as opening and loosening restrictions. So take note. That is going to be like a really big opening and very magical time. Maybe some big albums will be dropping around that time. Okay, our last significant date, and this one, I actually posted the chart on my website. I also did a thread about it on Twitter. This is huge. This is a really freaking magical, stellar, strange, and dynamic chart. So this is going to be April 30th of 2022. We have Venus and Jupiter, the two benefics, conjoining at the peak exaltation degree, 27 degrees Pisces. So that in itself is really romantic and dreamy and magical. So I saw that, and as someone who works with astrological magic, I'm making a note. I'm gonna make a talisman on that day, and then wait, it's a solar eclipse. Not the best for magic, but we're gonna find something significant to do on this date because there's just too much really interesting stuff happening in this chart. So we have a solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Taurus on this day. So that means that the moon is exalted also. So we've got Jupiter in rulership, Venus in exaltation, moon in exaltation. We also have Mercury entering Gemini right around this date. So we've got Mercury in domicile. We've got Saturn still in domicile in Aquarius. And then Mars, our last planet that we haven't talked about, will be in its triplicity in Pisces that day. So that is a really interesting chart. Again, that's going to be on April 30th of 2022. So definitely check that chart out. Overall, it's you have all these, every single planet has dignity, but then we're also having a solar eclipse. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can find me in the labor and delivery room on that day with frankincense and myrrh and a little chunk of gold, because whoever gets that chart, I want to keep tabs because that is a hell of a day to be born. Oh my God. But that just seems kind of too much going on for me to decipher at this moment, but most of it is really good. And it certainly seems auspicious, very auspicious. So definitely take note of that day. I'm really interested. Yeah. Someone says the Messiah. Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Okay. So I think we've been going for about an hour now. So now seems like a good time to sign off. That was our longer, just kind of more informal, off the cuff little video on Jupiter in Pisces. I'm so excited to share this with you. And now that I'm doing astrology full time, I hope to be doing more of these longer videos for you. So I hope Jupiter in Pisces is stellar for you. Once again, it's mostly going to be bringing the good stuff, but we got to keep in mind the other transits that we're having too. And just know that it's a journey. It's a journey to get you to a place of more abundance and more magic. And part of getting to that space is being open to what the ride brings up. And sometimes Jupiter is going to show you some things, be like, hey, you got to deal with that. Hey, you got to deal with that. But overall, the goal is to bring deeper connection, more meaning into our lives. So thanks for being here with me today. And if you want more astrology in your world, you can join me on YouTube. I'm going to be doing these Instagram lives. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter or Patreon at Astro Catherine. And yeah, great to see you. Bye.